Hello, my name's Kevin Hind and I'm the module leader for Managing in the Global Environment. So what is this module about? Well, the module is going to use tools and concepts from economics to help you understand the complexities of the global economic environment. It should help you understand what's going on when you see headlines in the Financial Times, for example, about the state of the economy, or indeed about what's happening to particular businesses and maybe why they're being fined by competition regulators. The module is broken down into particular weeks, and every week you should be looking at a particular video. We're going to start by examining what is economics all about. But we move on to understanding what is going on in terms of markets and what are the problems with markets. We spend a little bit of time on the role of information. How do we understand information? And in particular, we'll be exploring why is it that we know that we buy goods and services and that usually things seem to work out for us, but why is it that consumers complain, for example? And we'll understand something about that. So we're looking at markets and we're looking at how markets don't work all the time, but we'll also be exploring the nature of the organisation. The organisation, by that we mean whether or not it be a private sector or public sector, but largely private sector organisations. We're looking at particular principles in understanding how the organisation operates efficiently. We'll be querying whether or not firms actually engage in maximising profits. What is it that businesses actually do? Are they about making profits, or do they have some other objectives? And when we do that, we'll be looking at the role of chief executive officers, for example, and the bonuses that they actually earn, and whether or not those bonuses are in some way legitimate. As well as looking at the organisation, we'll be looking at the markets in which those organisations operate. So we'll be looking very much at things like what we call monopoly and oligopoly. I'll be arguing very strongly that big business is good, and at least in the main, and that we shouldn't worry too much about big business. Big business is good because, well, people want their products, therefore they've been successful and they've reinvested profits, and that's made the business big. But I'll also argue that there are occasions when firms have market power which they abuse. And so we get issues such as cartels and predatory pricing. We get strategic entry deterrence, which really go against the consumer's interest. So as well as looking at organisations, we ought to look also at the role in the global environment. So we're looking at the issue of when firms go overseas, the notion of foreign investment, and we'll look at trade. We'll be looking at how the world can be better off through being more globalised. We'll look at some of the costs of that globalisation as well. I think very importantly, we need to understand the macroeconomy. The world, as it stands in 2012, has been going through quite a number of problems. Economies have low growth rates or stalling growth rates, and we need to understand that why that is happening. So we'll be looking at the macroeconomy as well. We'll be understanding issues such as growth, unemployment, inflation, and of course debt. So hopefully this course will give you a real feel for how to think about the economic environment as you sit there as a manager in your organisation. Make you reflect, hopefully critically, on the nature of the organisation and the role in the global environment. How is this module going to be organised in terms of assessment? Well, essentially you have to do a formative assessment in the first term. And then you have to do a summative assignment, which is a written essay. And then you do something called a takeaway assessment, where you're given 5 days to complete a couple of questions, much as if you were asked by your own boss or whatever to carry out a report into a particular issue. So you're given a number of questions and you have to choose 2, and you write that and present that to us. The module has been very successful in recent times, and I'm sure that you really will enjoy it. Many thanks for listening. Please enjoy the module. If there are any problems, always ask. Thanks very much indeed.